Good day, children. I hope you're all fine. I'm Anupreet Kaur from the Chandigarh Education Department. Children, what would you call a girl who sings very beautifully, very melodiously? Lata Mangeshkar. And what would you call the best cricketer in your school? Mahendra Singh Dhoni, Sachin Tendulkar, Yuvraj Singh. What would you call the most brilliant child in your class or in your school? Albert Einstein. Einstein's name is synonymous with genius. So today we shall study the chapter A Truly Beautiful Mind from your NCERT textbook for class 9, Beehive. This chapter throws light onto the life of Albert Einstein. Here we learn about his life as an ordinary human being. We learn about his likes and his dislikes, about his rebellious nature, about his problems. We also learn about the wonders of this genius, that just at the age of 26, he was already a German civil servant. He gave us 4 theories of science: the theories of light, of motions of particles, of the electrodynamics of moving bodies, and of energy. This changed the concept of space, time, and cosmos forever. So, today let's read about this great scientist and this great visionary who was not just a brilliant mind but also a beautiful mind who cared about humanity. He was one of the greatest humanitarians who tried to save the world from atomic and nuclear warfare. Now let's start reading about A Truly Beautiful Mind. Albert Einstein was born on 14th March 1879 in the German city of Ulm without any indication that he was destined for greatness. On the contrary, his mother thought Albert was a freak. To her, his head seemed much too large. Children, when a child is born, a little baby is born, can you make out if he is going to be very great? If he is going to be a genius? No. That baby is just like any other baby. And his mother thought he was a freak. Why did she think he was a strange person, or why did she think that he was a freak? Because his head was too large. At the age of 2.5, Einstein still wasn't talking. When he finally did learn to speak, he uttered everything twice. Children, what is the normal age that the babies start talking at? Normally, it's between 1 to 1.5 years. Some start a little earlier than that also, and some start a little later. So you can well imagine how worried his parents must be when he wasn't even talking at the age of 2.5. But the amazing thing is that when he did start talking, he started repeating everything twice. Although yes, that can get a bit irritating. There's a very interesting anecdote about Albert Einstein which has been related by Otto Neugebauer. He was a historian of ancient mathematics. He told the story about the boy Einstein that he characterizes as a legend. But that seems fairly authentic. As he was a late talker, here he's talking about Einstein, as Einstein was a late talker, his parents were worried. At last, at the supper table one night, he broke his silence to say, "The soup is too hot." Greatly relieved, his parents asked why. He had never said a word before. Albert replied, "Because up to now everything was in order." Now this is an amazing anecdote. Normally when babies start talking, they'll say things like Mama, Papa, Baba. And look at Einstein, the genius. He starts talking like really late after he was 2.5 years old, and then what does he say? The soup is too hot. That's very funny and amusing and amazing. Einstein did not know what to do with other children, and his playmates called him Brother Boring. So the youngster played by himself much of the time. He especially loved mechanical toys. Now, children, he was a lonely child. because he didn't know how to play with other children. Firstly, because he started talking very late. And then he was kind of shy. He really didn't know how to play with them. He felt awkward with the other children. He preferred to play by himself and he loved to play with mechanical toys. Now we have a very funny incident related to this. He had a little sister. Looking at his newborn sister Maja, he is said to have said, "Fine, but where are her wheels?" For him, she was also a little toy. And his world literally revolved around the mechanical toys with wheels on them. He loved his cars and his whatever other wheeled toys he had. So he's just wondering, why doesn't his little sister have wheels? How is she going to move around? A headmaster once told his father that what Einstein chose as a profession wouldn't matter because he'll never make a success at anything. Oh my God, children, this is so terrible. How can anyone even think on these lines? It is actually very shocking. What is so shameful about the headmaster's attitude, children? His attitude is very negative. It is not okay to write off a child just like that. Some children are late bloomers. And moreover, in the school, not all aspects and qualities of a person are seen, especially in those days. There was not such a wide range of activities to know whether a child would do well in them or not do well in them. Children, if anyone gives you this kind of negative criticism, how do you take it? Does it bother you? Does it demoralize you? Well, it shouldn't. Criticism should be taken in a very positive manner. So if somebody said something like this to you, that you will never make a success at anything, what will you do? I think you should take it as a challenge and prove that person wrong. You should never let anyone or anything demoralize you. Nothing should demotivate. Rather, you should try and figure out whatever you are good at, whatever you are best at, and work on your strengths. Improve your strengths, and whatever your weakness is, you must try and get over your weakness. But children, never give up on anything. Everybody has some kind of talent or the other. Some are good in studies, some are good in other kind of activities. So no matter what, just realize your true potential, recognize your true potential and make the best of it. Einstein began learning to play the violin at the age of 6 because his mother wanted him to. He later became a gifted amateur violinist, maintaining this skill throughout his life. Now he started playing the violin at a very young age. How old was he? Only 6 years old. And how did he get onto this? Because his mother wanted him to. And he made such a good violinist. He became a gifted amateur violinist. He started doing this for his personal enjoyment, and all through his life, he maintained it very well. It is believed that musical training promotes mathematical ability, and having mathematical skill influences musical ability. A lot of research is going on in this field. What do you think about it, children? Because I personally know a lot of children who are very good in maths and they are great at music too. But Albert Einstein was not a bad pupil. He went to high school in Munich, where Einstein's family had moved when he was 15 months old, and scored good marks in almost every subject. Einstein hated the school's regimentation and often clashed with his teachers. At the age of 15, Einstein felt so stifled there that he left the school for good. Children, was Einstein weak in studies? No, he wasn't. He got good marks in almost every subject. The amazing thing is, despite what the headmaster told him, he was multi-talented. He was very good in his studies and he was a great musician too. If he was doing well in studies, he must have enjoyed school a lot. Do you agree with that? No, he wasn't enjoying school. He hated school. But why would he hate school? Because of the strict regimentation, because of the extreme discipline in the schools. He would often get punished by the teachers. He would clash with his teachers, argue with them perhaps. He felt suffocated in that kind of an environment in which there was no fun, no relaxation, only extreme, rigid discipline. So at the age of 15, Einstein just dropped out of school. Now this is a very sad state of affairs. Children's schools those days were not the way they are now. Now we have a more democratic setup in our schools. At that time, there was only rigid discipline and the cane was used very frequently on the children. Now, schooling is fun. There are a lot of activities, a lot of fun with your friends. You learn so much more. It's not just about studies. It's here the schools develop you in a multifaceted manner. There's an all-round development in schools nowadays. Now it is activity-based learning. In the 19th century, it was very different. So it is really sad that he had to drop out of school. Do you know of any other very intelligent, a genius person who's had to drop out of school? Who dropped out of school? Rabindranath Tagore. He also could not bear with the discipline of the school and he dropped out. And keeping that in mind, he actually set up a beautiful school in the lap of nature and he named it Shanti Niketan, which is presently a university. Children, if ever you are very upset in school, do not drop out of it. Education is very important. It helps you to lead a better life. For no reason should you drop out, whether it is for lack of friends or sometimes if you're bullied in school, and even if you feel you're being disciplined too much in school or you're getting low grades. None of these should make you leave school. Rather, you should talk it out with the concerned people. If you feel that the children are troubling you, talk it out with them. You can talk to your teachers, they can help you out. Or you can talk to your principal. The principal can also help you out to resolve your problems. If things still do not work out, like if your problems are of a different level, maybe you live too far from school, which is again not likely to be the case since we have schools in close proximity now. And if you find schools very expensive, that is also like government schools, you're getting free education. So these will not be reasons to drop out. But yes, if you need to work and you cannot afford to be in school for any other reason, maybe you're taking care of your parents or it could be any personal reason, right? You could study from the National Institute of Open Schooling, the NIOS, or you could take your exams privately from your state board. But please do not ever drop out of school. Do not leave your studies midway. Education is very, very important for you to lead a good life. Children, let's have an activity now. I would like you to state whether the following statements are true or false. Albert Einstein was born on 14th March 1879. True. Good. When Einstein was an infant, everyone could make out that he was destined for greatness.
False.
You're right. They couldn't make out. Nobody can make out when the child is so small. Albert started speaking when he was 1 year old.
False.
That is right, because he started speaking after he was 2.5 years old. Albert loved mechanical toys.
True.
You're right. Albert had many friends.
False.
He was a very shy child. He didn't know how to play with other children. So, this is a false statement. Albert was a gifted amateur violinist.
True.
That is correct. And he started learning how to play the violin at the age of 6. And he played it throughout his life. Einstein felt stifled in school.
True.
That is right. He could not bear with the strict regimentation in the school. The previous year, Albert's parents had moved to Milan and left their son with relatives. After prolonged discussion, Einstein got his wish to continue his education in German-speaking Switzerland, in a city which was more liberal than Munich. So he moves from Germany to Switzerland. Earlier he used to live with his relatives when he was studying in Munich because his parents had shifted to Milan. And since he had dropped out of school because of its regimentation, his parents also decided to allow him to study in Switzerland. And why did he prefer Switzerland to Munich? Because Switzerland was more liberal. In Switzerland, people were willing to understand and respect others' opinions. And yes, it was an additional benefit that it was a German-speaking country. Einstein was highly gifted in mathematics and interested in physics. And after finishing school, he decided to study at a university in Zurich. But science wasn't the only thing that appealed to the dashing young man with the walrus moustache. Children, what were his favorite subjects? Mathematics and physics. Now, this is a very funny name they've given to his moustache. They're calling it the walrus moustache. This makes him look like a walrus? No. Walrus is a sea animal which has a moustache, and it is a very specific kind of moustache. It's thick and bushy, and that's the one Albert Einstein supports. Why does Albert Einstein want to study in Zurich? Because he likes the liberal atmosphere over there. And he feels that the study of sciences is good over there. He'll study maths and physics in that university. He also felt a special interest in a fellow student. Now that is the second reason. He liked somebody else who's going to be studying with him over there. Mileva Maric, whom he found to be a clever creature. This young Serb had come to Switzerland because the University of Zurich was one of the few in Europe where women could get degrees. Einstein saw in her an ally against the Philistines, those people in his family and the university with whom he was constantly at odds. The couple fell in love. Letters survive in which they put their affection into words, mixing science with tenderness. Wrote Einstein, "How happy and proud I shall be when we both have brought our work on relativity to a victorious conclusion." So children, who is his special friend at the university? It's Mileva Maric. Where was she from? She was from Serbia. And why did she come all the way to Switzerland to study? Because the university in Zurich was the only one which allowed women to get their degrees. Children, you are so lucky to be born in the present times, where all the girls and all the children have equal opportunities for education. In the 19th century, the women did not get to study everywhere. There were very few places where the women could get higher education. And there was just a handful of women who got to study. Like even in India, there were barely any women who were getting educated in a formal setup in those days. Children, what do you understand by Philistines? Philistines are people who do not like art, literature, or music. They disapprove of these things. And Einstein loved music. He enjoyed art and literature. And this is what he had in common with Mileva Maric. They could both argue with the Philistines together. They had a good ally in each other. The couple fell in love. And how do we know that they really loved each other? Through the letters that they have left behind. What did they have in common? One, that they were both fond of art, literature, and music. Second, they were both brilliant. They were both good scientists. They were intelligent and they liked to spend some time together. They were good allies. They were good partners. In 1900, at the age of 21, Albert Einstein was a university graduate and unemployed. He worked as a teaching assistant, gave private lessons, and finally secured a job in 1902 as a technical expert in the patent office in Bern. While he was supposed to be assessing other people's inventions, Einstein was actually developing his own ideas in secret. He is said to have jokingly called his desk drawer at work the Bureau of Theoretical Physics. That's a great sense of humor. Children, what was his first job? He worked as a teaching assistant. And what was the nature of his other job? He was a technical expert in a patent office in Bern. Children, patents a document which gives the rights of an invention to the inventor. So nobody can copy your work. It gives you the rights to your invention. Now, although he was assessing other people's inventions, there was something that he was doing on his own. What was that? He was developing his own ideas in secret. And here you can see his very funny sense of humor, his great sense of humor, where he calls his drawer the Bureau of Theoretical Physics. This has a double meaning. A desk is also called a bureau, and in this bureau he's keeping his research papers. So this makes it the Bureau of Theoretical Physics. But it sounds like the bureau, like an agency of theoretical physics, like when we use for CBI, the Central Bureau of Investigation. So that's what it makes it sound like, very grand, the Bureau of Theoretical Physics, as if it's a great agency of theoretical physics. One of the famous papers of 1905 was Einstein's special theory of relativity, according to which time and distance are not absolute. Indeed, two perfectly accurate clocks will not continue to show the same time if they come again after a journey, if one of them has been moving very fast relative to the other. From this followed the world's most famous formula, which describes the relationship between mass and energy. E is equal to mc square. In this mathematical equation, E stands for energy, M for mass, and C for the speed of the light in a vacuum about 300,000 kilometers per second. This was a very, very important year for mankind. In which year did Einstein give his special theory of relativity? 1905. Children, this was a very special time for mankind, a very great development in the history of science. So, according to this theory, distance and time are not absolute. This means the measurement in itself, not in relation with anything else. Because we have to see the relationship with each other. Like two accurate alarm clocks will not show the same time if one of them starts moving faster than the other. So he developed this amazing formula which even now is of such great use to us. E is equal to mc square. E is equal to energy, m is equal to mass, and c is equal to the speed of light in a vacuum about 300,000 kilometers per second. Children, he explained this very beautifully in these lines and very accurately when he says, when you sit with a nice girl for 2 hours, it seems like 2 minutes. When you sit on a hot stove for 2 minutes, it seems like 2 hours. That's relativity. This is very well explained. So it's the same amount of time. It's a matter of 2 minutes. Yet it seems like so much more if you're sitting on a stove. And on the other hand, when you spend a lot of time with a loved person, with a wonderful person, with somebody you're fond of, it seems like time has just flown. It seems like it's just been 2 minutes. Children, let's have a quiz now. It is believed when Albert saw his newborn sister, he said, the options are, she's beautiful. Where are her wheels? She looks like me. She looks like a doll. Where are her wheels? That is true. This is the funniest thing anyone could have said to a newborn baby. The next question is, the other children felt that Einstein was, the options are, naughty, boring, quarrelsome, friendly. Boring. That's true. Because he didn't talk to them at all. He didn't know how to play with them. Einstein's headmaster felt that Einstein was, the options are, boring, brilliant, naughty, stupid, and would never succeed in his life.
Stupid and would never succeed in his life.
That's the correct option. Einstein's mother thought he was, the options are, brilliant, lovely, a freak, adorable.
A freak.
That is correct. Little did she know that this big-headed child would turn out to be a genius. Einstein left the Munich school for good because he was bullied at school, he was not doing well in his studies, he disliked the regimentation of that school, he disliked the teachers of that school.
He disliked the regimentation of that school.
That is correct. He could not bear with the very strict discipline of that school. The regimentation is a very strict discipline. After leaving the Munich school, Einstein studied in Milan, Berlin, America, Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Very good. Einstein wanted to study in Switzerland rather than Munich because he disliked the regimentation in the Munich school. He liked the liberal atmosphere in Switzerland. He got a scholarship to study in Switzerland. He found it beautiful.
He liked the liberal atmosphere in Switzerland.
That is correct. This was very opposed to the strict regimentation that he had to go through in his Munich school. The next question is, Einstein saw an ally in Mileva because both of them were the same age, Germans, classmates, intelligent and opposed to the Philistines.
Intelligent and opposed to the Philistines.
That is the correct answer. Very good. Einstein called his desk drawer at the Patent Office the Central Bureau of Investigation, the Bureau of Patented Inventions, the Bureau of Theoretical Physics, the Bureau of Secret Services.
The Bureau of Theoretical Physics.
That's the correct answer. Very well done. Children, let's have another activity now. Here are some sentences related to the text. Choose the words from the given options which can be substituted for the highlighted words. The first sentence is Einstein felt stifled in school. The options are suffocated, stiff, bullied.
Suffocated.
That is correct. Einstein felt suffocated in school. The second sentence is Einstein was constantly at odds with people at the university. The options are strange, in disagreement, unhappy.
In disagreement.
That is correct. Einstein was constantly in disagreement with people at the university. The next sentence is Albert's mother thought he was a freak. The options are unusual, having a squeaky voice, brilliant.
Unusual.
That is correct. Albert's mother thought he was unusual. The next sentence is he hated the school's regimentation. The options are army training, routine, very strict discipline.
Very strict discipline.
That is correct. Well done, child. Science wasn't the only thing that appealed to Albert. The options are interested, challenged, worried.
Interested.
Very good. Well done. Science wasn't the only thing that interested. Children, let's have another activity. I would like you to study the following sentences. Einstein became a gifted amateur violinist, maintaining his skill throughout his life. Now, this part in italics begins with ing verbs. These are called participial phrases. The participial phrases say something more about the person or thing talked about, or the idea expressed by the sentence as a whole. For example, Einstein became a gifted amateur violinist. He maintained his skill throughout his life. So this has been changed into maintaining his skill throughout his life. Now I would like you to complete the sentences by filling in the blanks with suitable participial phrases. The information that has to be used in the phrases is provided as a sentence in the brackets. Dash, he finally completed his project. So the sentence for this is, which you have to change into a participial phrase, is they worked round the clock.
Working round the clock.
Good. So the final sentence is working round the clock, he finally completed his project. The next sentence is dash, I found myself in Ludhiana instead of Chandigarh. To fill up the sentence which you have to use as a participial phrase is I had taken the wrong bus.
Having taken the wrong bus.
That's correct. Having taken the wrong bus, I found myself in Ludhiana instead of Chandigarh. My shoes dash needed to be replaced. In brackets we have they were worn out.
Being worn out.
Correct. My shoes being worn out needed to be replaced. She watched the sunrise above the fields dash. And the sentence for this is she noticed the brilliant hues.
Noticing the brilliant hues.
That is correct. You're good. She watched the sunrise above the fields, noticing the brilliant hues. The dog licked my hand dash. And for this in brackets we have while it wagged its tail. I would like you to complete the sentence with the participial phrase.
Wagging its tail.
Correct. The dog licked my hand, wagging its tail. Very well done. Children, now we come to the end of the first part of the lesson, A Truly Beautiful Mind. This is about the life of Albert Einstein. We learn that nobody is born with the mark of being a genius. One cannot make out that a person is going to be a genius during his childhood or during his infancy. In case of Albert Einstein, he was born with a very big head. His mother thought he was a freak. She never dreamt that he would become one of the most brilliant people in the world. His teachers thought he was a dull boy. His friends called him Brother Boring. He had a difficult childhood where this was concerned. He learned to speak after the age of 2.5. Although he was good in studies, he could not bear with the regimentation of the school in Munich. So he became rebellious and he dropped out. In the next session, we shall learn more about Albert Einstein. Till then, keep learning, stay happy, stay safe.